This is Chris Potatoes. Like, subscribe to TNW Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Potatoes, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. It'll all be down there in the description box, and I'm here to do my WWE Friday Night SmackDown October 27th, 2023 reviews. So here we go, discussing about tonight's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. Now, we kick off the show with a contract signing, and not only that, they have officially announced that at Crown Jewel it will be John Cena versus Solo Sikoa one-on-one. So yeah, John Cena's first one-on-one match, singles match since WrestleMania 39. So yeah, it'll be up against Solo Sikoa, which that'd be pretty damn good, you know. But yeah, we kick off the show with a contract signing. So Nick Aldis is already in the ring, and then all of a sudden, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman, they come out, and as soon as Roman Reigns gets on the top of the ramp and he just raises up the title, all of a sudden LA Knight's theme song hits, and here he comes walking down. He walks past Roman Reigns and gets into the ring. So yeah, LA Knight is there, and same for Roman Reigns, and they are set to do the contract signing. All of a sudden, Paul Heyman grabs a chair and sits at the head of the table, and then LA Knight goes over and sits at that, and Paul Heyman looks at me and goes like, "No, you can't be sitting here. The head of the table only sits here." And LA Knight looks at me and goes like, "Try to grab the damn chair and I want to break it." So yeah, that's what LA Knight tells Paul Heyman and stuff, which is pretty funny, you know. And then Roman Reigns tells Paul Heyman, "Hey, it's okay." And then Roman Reigns sits down. And then, Nick Aldis is talking about how the title will be defended at Crown Jewel and everything between LA Knight and Roman Reigns, and they're going to be signing the contract. And then all of a sudden, they was going to get the contract to get signed by Roman Reigns first, and the LA Knight was like, "Oh, no. The head of the table signs the contract first, and then he signs the contract." And then Roman Reigns finally signs the contract, so the match is now made official at Crown Jewel. The title will be on the line. And then all of a sudden, actually, before Roman Reigns actually signed the contract, Paul Heyman grabs the pin that LA Knight used and threw it, and then he pulls out another pin, and then that pin was not working, and then all of a sudden Roman Reigns gets frustrated, and he tells Paul Heyman, "Give him another damn pin," and then he finally gets another one, and he signs the contract, and then the fans starts chanting, "Roman is scared." So yeah, that was going on right there. And then Roman looks at LA Knight, and then he starts talking about like, you see, you done made a mistake, because I know this is your first ever contract signing that you ever had, and you never even competed for a title either. So what makes you think that you're going to actually beat me at Crown Jewel for the title and all that stuff? And LA Knight starts talking about that even though this is his first go around to sign a contract, even though this is his first go around to have a championship match in WWE, he says it doesn't matter because all he needs is one time, and that one time he's going to beat Roman Reigns, and it was Roman Reigns' mistake for signing the contract because Roman Reigns will be giving up the undisputed WWE Universal Championship to LA Knight. So yeah, that's what he was saying, and he tells him whose game it is because it's the fact of life, and then everybody's chants LA Knight. So yeah, great stuff right there from LA Knight and Roman Reigns, and then Roman Reigns gets frustrated, and then he grabs the table and he flips it onto LA Knight over him and stuff, and he starts attacking LA Knight, beating him down and all that stuff, punching, stomping, throws him shoulder first into the ring post and everything. Roman gets out of the ring, grabs the table from underneath the ring, and he's setting it up, and the crowd starts chanting, and Roman Reigns gets distracted by that a little bit, but then he finally sets up the table, and he's going plan to put LA Knight through the table, but LA Knight starts fighting back, punching Roman Reigns and everything, and then all of a sudden Jimmy Uso gets into the ring helping Roman, and then he starts beating LA Knight down, and then Roman rolls out the ring, and Jimmy Uso looks at him and goes like, "Where you going, Uso?" And then Roman looks at him, he goes like, handle him. And Jimmy was like, "Okay." And then he starts beating down LA Knight, and he tries to hit a super kick onto Knight, but Knight moves out the way, and then he grabs Jimmy Uso and hits a back suplex onto him through the table, taking him out. So yeah, that's what happened there. Great segment. I really liked it. Great way to start off Friday Night SmackDown tonight. I really liked it. But yeah, that's what happened there. But next will be the first match of the night. It will be Carlito and Santos Escobar versus the Street Profits up next in a tag team match. That'll be the first match of the night, and that match will be up next. No, that we'll see Bianca Belair tonight, and we'll see John Cena tonight. So yeah, that's all that's happening tonight on SmackDown. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing happens on Friday Night SmackDown. See you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on Friday Night SmackDown, it was a tag team match. It was the first match of the night. It was Santos Escobar and Carlito, the LWO, versus Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins with Bobby Lashley at ringside, the Street Profits, in a tag team match. Now, we see Bobby Lashley come out, and then the Street Profits come out, and they come out with a new theme song and all that stuff. It's okay. I think I like that other theme song better, but, you know, I've just probably got to listen to this one a little bit more to see how it really goes. But, yeah, they come out there with a new theme song and all that stuff. And, yeah, we get to the match, and, you know, the match is going back and forth and everything. We see the United States Champion, Rey Mysterio, watching this match backstage on TV monitor and all that stuff. And, you know, this match is going back and forth and everything. Carlito got tagged in doing his thing, jumping over the top rope and all that stuff. At one point, tries to hit the backstabber onto Montez Ford, but Montez Ford drops down, reversing it, and rolls up Carlito, but only got a 2 count out of it and everything. And then Santos Escobar gets tagged in. He starts doing his thing and everything like that inside the ring. But then all of a sudden we see backstage that Logan Paul comes up and he attacks Rey Mysterio backstage, hitting him in the back of the head. And then Santos Escobar and Carlito actually see down on the big screen, and Santos tells Carlito, go help him, I'll take care of this. And Carlito runs to the back, and while he's doing that, all it is now is a 2-on-1 handicap match. Santos Escobar is doing everything that he possibly can do to try to win this match, but obviously at the ending it just didn't matter because it's 2-on-1, and the Street Profits hit their tag team finish move, that spine buster neck breaker combination, and they pinned Santos Escobar for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, the Street Profits defeated Santos Escobar and Carlito tonight in a tag team match. That's what happened. It was a good tag team match to kick off SmackDown and all that stuff. I'll give it 3 stars. That's what I'll give it. But yeah, that's what happened there. And then after that, we see Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman backstage, and Paul Heyman gets a Green Bay Packers WWE Championship. And Roman Reigns looks at me and goes like, "What is that for?" And Paul Heyman tells Roman Reigns, like, "Hey, this is the Green Bay Packers WWE Championship, and I'm going to go give it to LA Knight because it's the closest thing to he'll ever get to a championship, because him and the Green Bay Packers are both losers," and all that stuff. So, yeah, that's what Paul Heyman said. Roman Reigns like that, you know. But then all of a sudden, Jimmy Uso comes down. He flops on the couch, and Roman looks at me and goes like, "Where have you been?" And Jimmy was like, "Where else? I've been in the medical room." And Roman was like, "Well, what happened?" And he goes like, "Well, I tried to run the play and all that stuff. I had called audible and all that." So yeah, that's what Jimmy was talking to Roman about. And Roman was like, "You got to handle this tonight." And Jimmy was like, "Tonight I'm on the injured reserve list." And all of a sudden, Roman Reigns was like, "What?" And then Jimmy was like, "I'm off the injured reserve list." So yeah, that's what happened there. And Roman looks at Paul Heyman and says, "Hey, go tell Nick Aldis to make the match." And then Paul Heyman was like, Jimmy Uso versus LA Knight 1-on-1, and Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns looks at me and goes like, "Yeah," and then Paul Heyman goes and does it. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good stuff. But yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on Friday Night SmackDown. See you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on Friday Night SmackDown. Now, before we talk about the next match of the night, we got to talk about a few backstage segments that happened before this match, and one of them actually ended up to start this match as well. So yeah, first things first, we see Kathy Kelly backstage, and she is interviewing Logan Paul, and Logan Paul was talking about how he proved that it only takes one shot to knock down Rey Mysterio, and that's what he did. And he said he's at Crown Jewel's going to be the same thing, you know, and then he walks off. And then all of a sudden, he walks right into Kevin Owens backstage, and he looks at Kevin Owens, he says, "Nice shirt," and then walks off again. And Kevin Owens was wearing a Rey Mysterio shirt. And then all of a sudden, Austin Theory and Grace Waller comes up, and they was talking about how Kevin Owens said last week in the exclusive interview, talking about how he could punch Austin Theory and Grace Waller just once because they got a punchable face. And they was like, "Yeah, you can't do that, you can't do that." And all of a sudden, we see like Jamie Noble and then telling Kevin Owens like, "Hey, come on, let's go away." And then Austin Theory and Grace Waller was talking when Kevin Owens walked away and all that stuff. It's about like, when we're shoulder to shoulder, he thinks he can punch us both at once. And they was both shoulder to shoulder, and then Kevin Owens punches them both in the face. and he tells Jamie Noble, he goes like, Jamie, I told you I could do it. And he walks off. So yeah, that was pretty funny right there. But then after that, we see Caleb Braxton interviewing Dragon Lee, and Dragon Lee was talking about how great it is to be on SmackDown and all that stuff. But then Cedric Alexander comes up, and he pretty much says that he got this fire lit up in him since Dragon Lee came to the main roster and all that stuff, because he says, yeah, he wants to have that fire when he signed up for WWE and all that stuff. And he says that he wants a match against Dragon Lee tonight, and Dragon Lee was like, okay, I'm down for the match and all that stuff. And then they both shake hands, and Cedric was like, be prepared. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good stuff. That'll be a pretty good, entertaining match tonight. But yeah, then after that, we see from earlier today that Nick Aldis was backstage, and then Shotzi was talking about how she is hosting Halloween Havoc 2, Night 2 or whatever, next Tuesday, and how he should see her costume and all that stuff for Halloween Havoc and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, comes up, and Chelsea Green was like, nobody cares about your stupid costume and all that stuff. And then Shotzi was like, well, how about let's have a match tonight? And Chelsea Green kind of didn't like that, and Nick Aldis was like, you know what, I like that idea. And Chelsea Green gets pissed off, and she says, strike 2 for you, Nick, and then walks off. So yeah, that's what happened there. And that's what started off this match, which it was Shotzi versus Chelsea Green one with Piper Niven at ringside. This match, it was a good match for the most part. It was decent and all that stuff. Chelsea Green started off with a match with a massive drop kick, beating down Shotzi. Shotzi doing, coming back and stuff during this match. But then at the ending, we see Chelsea Green on the top turnbuckle, and she jumps off with a missile drop kick onto Shotzi. She goes for the pin, but like being all cocky and stuff, puts her back onto Shotzi's stomach, and then only got 1 count because Shotzi done rolled her up for like the crucifix pin, getting the 3 count. So yeah, Shotzi defeated Chelsea Green tonight in a one-on-one match. For that match, I'll give it 2 stars. That's what I'll give it. But yeah, that's what happened there. And yeah, up next we'll be seeing John Cena on SmackDown up next. So yeah, we're going to see what he gets to say up next on SmackDown. So yeah, we'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on Friday Night SmackDown. See you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on Friday Night SmackDown, now we get to the next segment of the night where we see John Cena. He comes down to the ring, and you know what? He gets a few things to talk about on SmackDown. He says that they're in a sold-out crowd tonight in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and all that stuff, and he wants to pretty much thank the WWE fans and all that stuff for everything that they do for him over the years by supporting him and all that stuff, because he says that for over 20 years now that he's been with the company, it was the fans that saved him from getting fired and all that stuff. So he needs to thank the fans, and he says that he needs to go to Crown Jewel and beat Solo Sikoa, because he says if he don't, he says he'll lose that connection with the fans, and if he loses that connection with the fans, he knows he's going to lose everything, like getting into the ring and all that stuff, and he says that he don't want to lose that, So yeah, that's what John Cena was talking about. But then all of a sudden, Paul Heyman comes down, and Paul Heyman got some stuff to say to John Cena. He says that that he wants to thank John Cena for everything that he do over the years and all that stuff. And Paul Heyman starts talking about a few things. Paul Heyman was talking about how that he raises kids not to look at him to like raise them at like him, but he says he want to raise them at, like John Cena, with the hustle, loyalty, and respect and all that stuff. And then he was talking about a story where when he was a GM or whatever, when he was running SmackDown, that Vince said, hey, who you want from OVW? He said the first pick that he chose was John Cena, because he knew he would be a star one day and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what Paul Heyman was talking about. But then he says that there's one thing that John Cena's dangerous with, and that's him with the mic talking and all that stuff. And he says that at Crown Jewel, once he loses that, he ain't gonna be no more, because he says that there's been some things. He says he could have been something like Paul Heyman, talking and all that stuff, but then he says he had to have an issue with the bloodline, and he says that Cena got hit with a spear, and he probably got he can get a few broken ribs, but he'll get back up from that. And he says that he can get hit with the Uso splash by from Jimmy Uso, and he says that his sternum will be broken or whatever, and then he can get back up from that. And then he says there's one thing that he won't get back up from, and that is a Samoan spike to the throat, because once he loses the talk, he can't do nothing. So yeah, that's what Paul Heyman says to John Cena, and then all of a sudden we see Solo Sikoa run down to the ring, attacking John Cena from behind, beating him down and all that stuff. He lifts up Cena, his spinning Solo onto John Cena, picks him back up again, hits the Samoan spike on Cena, laying him out. So yeah, Solo Sikoa laid out John Cena. Pretty good stuff though. But yeah, Solo Sikoa standing tall. Can't wait for that match. But up next, it'll be Dragon Lee versus Cedric Alexander one-on-one. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that LA Knight was talking backstage where he was looking at the camera, and he says that he never forgot what Roman Reigns did to him a few weeks ago by spearing him and all that stuff. And he says if Jimmy Uso wants something since he came out and got something tonight, he says he's going to beat him down, and everybody's going to remember LA Knight. So yeah, that's what LA Knight said. But yeah, later on tonight, LA Knight versus Jimmy Uso one-on-one in the main event. But yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing happens on Friday Night SmackDown. See you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on Friday Night SmackDown, it was a one-on-one match. It was Dragon Lee versus Cedric Alexander one-on-one. Now, Cedric Alexander came out and they showed a nice video package about Cedric Alexander. You know, throughout the years and stuff, competing and all that stuff, you know, getting, you know, I guess, like, pushing him a little bit. So yeah, that's what it seems like at least, and that's what he was doing. But yeah, we'll get to the match, Dragon Lee versus Cedric, and Cedric was doing pretty damn good up against Dragon Lee. You know, coming up a few near falls and multiple times in this match. At one point, we see Cedric try to hit the Michinoku driver onto Dragon Lee, but Dragon Lee reverses it into a pin, but he only got a 2 count out of it and all that stuff. And when Cedric was on his knees, all of a sudden we see Dragon Lee behind him, and he hits that running knee to the spine pretty much onto Cedric. And then he picks him up and hits that standing slice spread into the inverted DDT type finish move onto Cedric Alexander, and then he pins him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Dragon Lee defeated Cedric Alexander tonight in a one-on-one match. That's what happened. Pretty good match, so I'll give that match 3 stars. That's why I'll give it. Pretty good match between Cedric Alexander and Dragon Lee. But yeah, that's what happened there. Great stuff though. But yeah, and then they show a replay about what happened last week on SmackDown, and yeah, Bianca Belair returning, and she's on SmackDown up next, and we see Bayley, Dakota Kai, and the WWE Women's Champion Io Sky Damage Control watching all this with her making her entrance and all that stuff backstage on the TV monitor. So yeah, that's going down there. But yeah, Bianca Belair is on SmackDown up next, and still to come later on tonight in the main event, it will be LA Knight versus Jimmy Uso one-on-one. Still to come later on tonight in the main event for tonight's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on Friday Night SmackDown. See you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on Friday Night SmackDown, we get to the next segment where we see Bianca Belair. She makes her way down there to the ring and all that stuff on SmackDown, and she got some stuff to say. And while she's saying all this stuff, we see the WWE Women's Champion Io Sky, Bayley, and Dakota Kai Damage Control watching all this on the TV monitor backstage. And Bianca Belair was talking about how she hasn't been focused for a long time. Like, physically she's ready, but mentally she says she don't know she's ready because of what happened 2 months ago. She showed what happened 2 months ago with Damage Control attacking her and injuring her leg and taking her out for 2 months. So yeah, that's what Bianca Belair showed. And she says, you know, that she already talked to Nick Aldis and all that stuff. And she says at Crown Jewel, she will be getting her rematch for the WWE Women's Championship up against Io Sky, because remember, Bianca Belair did win the WWE Women's Championship at SummerSlam, and Io Sky cashed in the Money in the Bank contract on her, so Bianca deserves a title rematch. So yeah, that match is now made official. Bianca Belair versus the WWE Women's Champion Io Sky at Crown Jewel for the title. So yeah, that match has now made official, you know. But yep, that's what's going to be happening there. Great stuff. Bianca Belair challenging Io Sky and all that stuff. And yeah, up next it'll be the main event. It will be a one-on-one match. It will be LA Knight versus Jimmy Uso one-on-one up next on SmackDown. So yeah, that match is up next. And yeah, maybe we'll probably see some more Roman Reigns trying to attack LA Knight, possibly after the match. We don't know, but we'll be seeing him next. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on Friday Night SmackDown, it was a main event. It was a one-on-one match. It was LA Knight versus Jimmy Uso one-on-one. And this match, it was a pretty good match. It was going back and forth between these two guys. They're doing some spots and all that stuff. Like, we see Jimmy Uso suplex LA Knight on the ring apron and all that stuff, which was pretty nice. And yeah, it was just going back and forth between these two guys. Well, at one point, we actually see Jimmy Uso up there on the top turnbuckle. LA Knight jumps up there, and both of them's going at it on the top turnbuckle, but then Jimmy Uso manages to knock LA Knight off the top turnbuckle, so LA Knight crashed and burned, landing on his back off the top turnbuckle on the mat. And then Jimmy Uso jumps off the top turnbuckle with the Uso splash onto LA Knight. He pins LA Knight 1, 2, Knight barely kicking out at 2. So yeah, Knight still has some life in him in this. And then Jimmy Uso climbs back up the top turnbuckle, trying to hit a second Uso splash onto LA Knight, but LA Knight quickly runs and jumps up there with him. And then he hits one of the nicest superplexes onto Jimmy Uso off of there. And then LA Knight waited for Jimmy Uso to get back up, and then he hits the BFT, the blunt force trauma, onto Jimmy Uso, and then he pins him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, LA Knight defeated Jimmy Uso tonight in a one-on-one match. That's what happened. Great match, though. I really liked it. It was a great one. And then after the match ended, we see LA Knight celebrating on the second turnbuckle. He gets off there, he turns around, and then Roman Reigns tries to hit the spear onto LA Knight like he did 2 weeks ago, but LA Knight moves out the way, and Roman hits his head onto the top turnbuckle pretty much when he runs into it, and then LA Knight turns around, hits the BFT, blunt force trauma, onto Roman Reigns, laying him out, and LA Knight is standing tall. So yeah, that's what happened there. Great match, and what happened after the match was really great. I'll give it all 3.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. I would say that was match of the night. Great main event. I liked it. But yeah, for tonight's episode, Friday Night SmackDown, I'll give it 8.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a pretty good episode. It set up some matches. John Cena versus Solo Sikoa at Crown Jewel. Same for Bianca Belair versus Io Sky for the title as well at Crown Jewel, and all that stuff. The contract signing was great. I really liked that segment. Like I said, this match was great. Dragon Lee versus Cedric Alexander's match was pretty great and all that. But yeah, pretty good stuff. But yeah, that's been my Friday Night SmackDown reviews. Like, subscribe to TNW Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Videos, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. And I'll be down there in the description box, and I'll be doing my AEW Collision reviews tomorrow night because I got a big match going on. I'm definitely checking it out, and I'm going to be talking about it. So yeah, Collision, I'll be talking about it tomorrow night, and all that I'll be talking about Monday Night Raw this Monday, same for NXT on Tuesday with Halloween Havoc Night 2, AEW Dynamite Wednesday. I'll be doing my Crown Jewel predictions on Thursday, SmackDown reviews on Friday, and then Crown Jewel reviews next Saturday. So yeah, look out for all that. I would just be talking about wrestling for 6 days in a row. So yeah, see you guys later. Until then.